Hello, welcome to In Conversation with Zoe. This is where we present to you some communication strategies for better public speaking, engagements, and how to brand yourself, which takes us through self-development classes and courses. I'm Zoe Chinaka, your host. Today I will be entering into a new series about personal branding, corporate branding, and so on and so forth, because there are different levels of branding. I'm going to be giving the first 5 basic steps or rules that you need to engage with to get yourself on a good footing. All right, so what is branding? Branding is storytelling. What is branding? Branding is transacting. What is branding? Branding is communication. What is branding? Branding is identity. What is branding? Branding is advertisement. Wow, those were great, Zoe. Well, from those definitions, one-worded definitions and phrases, you should get a hint of what branding is. Branding is about projecting an identity that you want people to buy into. I've just pieced that together in a very basic term, or basic with a basic analogy, and I do hope that it gets across to you. I like keeping things very real and very simple so we can all be on the same page. So now that you know what branding is, you need to ask yourself these questions. Are you projecting the right identity that you have inside onto the outside? Is that what you're doing? Well, if you're not doing that, or if people are not buying into what you think you're projecting, then you need to change your strategy. Well, I'm an expert at this, so I think I'm pretty good at it. And I tell my clients, whether family and friends that I have worked with, to brand their startups, to brand their personalities, branding talents, and even branding companies, consulting, serving as a consultant, in an advisory position. Here's what I always start with, and this is what my tutors told me. It is so basic, but it is super powerful and helpful. Number 1, make the list. It is the list. It's not just a list, it is the list, because here you will get to learn a lot about yourself. You thought you knew yourself, honey, you don't until you make this list. The list is going to be a table, let's say 2 columns. Column 1 should consist of your strengths. Column 2 consisting of your weaknesses. Still in this list, if you want to change the heading, you can say where I'm coming from and where I'm going to. And then from there, you can fish out your strengths that has helped you in the past, and also your weaknesses that has kept you behind, maybe past, present, and you think will hinder you in the future. That's a way of getting to know yourself. If you do not know yourself, people will not know you, and you will not be able to transact the identity that will get you where you want to be, right? So that's what branding is all about. Forget the big grammars, the whole semiotics, neuroscience. It's a lot, but if you get these basics for yourself, I think you can apply it to your daily living. Okay, so number 1, make the list, your weaknesses and your strengths, right? What you're good at, what you're poor at. How I made my list was I did heavyweight champion and I did featherweight champion. Yes, I remember, it's an old list, but that's what I think I did, and it was fun, really, because I realized that I have some struggles. I might look like I have things together, but I don't, and that's the reality, and we all have weaknesses. So number 2, excuse me, number 2 is, from there, you're learning about yourself, right? So ask yourself, what are your values? What is your message? What is your life message? What is your manifesto? I'm phrasing it and rephrasing it in 1,000 ways, but you get it. What do I sell? Oh, that's it. Oh my God. Ooh, Zoe, light bulb woman. Boop, boop. There you go. It's a very simple question. What are you selling? What are you selling? It's really simple. I'm just gonna make a note here quickly. So ask yourself what you're selling. I'm just gonna rephrase this. What are you selling? So that's the other list you're making. What are you selling? What's your message? What are your key messages? Are you selling firmness? Are you selling softness, vulnerability? Are you selling strength? Are you selling truth? Are you selling integrity? Are you selling, and what are you selling means what are your values as well? Because those are the fibers and fabrics that make up the message you put out unconsciously and consciously. Okay? So ask yourself, what are you selling? And after you've asked yourself, make a list. This is all taking a list form, or like some people, for the technicals, for the creatives like us would say, we're making a mood board. And I'm sure everyone does that these days for almost every profession, right? So you make a list of what you're selling. What are you transacting? Remember I said branding is all about transacting as well. What are you selling? Have you asked yourself that question? So that's number 2. Number 3 is, where are you headed? What's your goal? I mean, even in Think Like a Man, Act Like a Lady, it was in there. What are your goals? What are your long-term goals? What are your short-term goals? What are your distant goals? What are your that goals? Ask yourself that question. What are your goals? Short-term goals, long-term goals, mid-term goals. That's so American, but hey, yeah. Ask yourself that. What are your goals? Put them in a 3-column part, or 3 tables. Short-term goals, and short-term goals could be daily goals. It could be weekly goals. It could be monthly goals. Mid-term goals could be quarterly. It could be mid-year, biannually. However you want to classify it, whatever spectrum you're using, you can, devise it through whatever means that fits into your schedule, your psychology, and your frame. Okay, so number 4 is you have to define your story. You have to tell your story, not define. Now you have to tell your story. So let's say this is where the elevator pitch comes in, the distorted elevator pitch. Frame yourself in, you've had another type of elevator pitch in the message. What's your key message? What are you transacting? Because what you're transacting, if you can fit it into a sentence, then that is your elevator pitch. But then there is another. What's your story? What has made you who you are today? That's exactly what I mean by what's your story, really. What is my story? Ooh. My parents have had like 40% chunk of my story, and which is amazing, because without them I don't think I would be framed in this great way that I am today, mentally, physically, professionally, relationally, and otherwise, So how you can define or tell your story is to find those particles, those fabrics that have inspired or pushed you or troubled you so much that you are who you are today and where you are today. So pick them out, just write them down. Because I lost this person at this age, I became worried, confused, blah blah. It's all part of your story. You can also say, because I had the highest GPA in school, I've always had opportunities handed to me, blah blah blah. People have always been lovely to me. It could be that, everything just works out for you. That is your story. So you've not had a reason to work for things. That's part of your story, and that's part of what makes you you. Remember, I say this every time, not every time, but often in my videos, my inspirational talks. I'm like, I hardly pay attention to people who don't have stories. Now you see what I mean? You've got to have a story. It doesn't have to be all bad. Oh, I used to be a beggar. I used to have no shelter, and here I am today. Woohoo! No, it doesn't have to be that. It doesn't even have to be a testimony. For us Christians, I will call it a testimony, but it doesn't always have to be that, okay? It could just be a normal story that has formed and framed you to think the way you do, okay? Okay, well, some people would say put your story as the third thing. You know, this is my fourth, but you can put your story as the third thing. All right, and then put your goals as the last thing. So just swap it around. You can make your list that way. That's fine with me. I'm just trying to get across how easy you can brand yourself from day to day. And I will give you 5 tips on how to project the best version of your brand in another video. And then the 5th tip on my to-do list and steps to personal branding, corporate branding, or daily branding of yourself, your project, your idea, your team, your values, whatever it is that you're trying to brand, is tonality. It's a branding term, but I mean, we all know what tonality is. How are you passing that message? That's part of the transaction of branding. So you need to tell not just your story, but you also need a way to communicate your story. Okay, so when you have discovered and figured out your story, now you need to rewrite your story, not just in an elevator pitch manner, but also in a readable manner, in an endearing manner, in a receptive manner. Those are the 5 key seeds to sow when you are starting off to branding yourself. I hope that helped. I will see you in my next video. Hopefully I'll be sharing with you 5 tips still on branding on how to project the best version of yourself, even though you're not there yet. I am a work in progress, and I'm super glad that I have you with me coming on this journey as we grow together with our self-development goals and communication strategies through branding. I'm Zoe Chinaka. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.
Yeah.